Joining us on the show today is someone who reached out to me, Ryan Blevins. Hopefully I pronounced his name correctly. Ryan was one of the Gran Turismo Academy drivers. I don't know if he could see himself in the film, but he's here to talk about it. He's on a live stream right now. Ryan, how's it going, man?
Hello. Pretty good.
Cool.
I saw the movie about 2 weeks ago, and my initial impressions were not that good because they had changed a lot of things from the real life story, and I didn't like it at first. But after a while, and that started to fade in my mind, I started thinking about the details of the movie, and it really raised my feelings about the show. I don't have a webcam, so I'm just going to play some old footage of me driving in the rain. It's pretty relaxing, just to give you guys something to look at.
We have a lot of questions here, so any comments, questions from our audience, please post them in the chat. First of all, I have a bunch of questions for you. My first question is, did you receive that message on your PlayStation that was like, you've been invited to compete, and then you competed in that, and that's how you got to the GT Academy? Can you explain, was that accurately told, or kind of sort of, did you get a message and then have to play a race?
No, that was not accurately told, and I think the movie would have been better if it was actually accurately told. So the way that worked is the invite went to everyone that had the game. So like hundreds of thousands of players would all get to compete. And what we would do is we would set the best lap time. So in motorsports, there's a time trial series where you just lap as many times as you want, and you get the best time that you can. So Jan, when he did it for 9 hours a day, every day for 6 weeks straight, trying to set the best time. And like when I did it, I made it all the way up to the fastest in the United States at one point. But then I would drop out of the top 20, as other people set their times. And then I would set a good one. I would go back to the top. And I think that would have been a really interesting, drama, or to get some introspective about Jan's character versus that one really short race that we saw in the movie.
So it was basically, the competition was open to everyone. It wasn't you've been selected because you're one of the top drivers.
At first, it is open to everyone, but then they select the top, depending on what year it was. But they would take the top 20 or the top 30 drivers from those hundreds of thousands, and then they would put them into the real life competition that we see in the movie.
Cool. All right. Did you get a t-shirt and a hat when you were told to go home?
I didn't get that far. So I had the unfortunate reality of placing 24th place in 2015 GT Academy. So in 2014, they allowed the top 32 players, but in 2015, they only allowed the top 20. So since I was 24th, I did not get to go to the finals because of the year. But I was in the top 20 the day before that. So the trials are 6 weeks long or something like that. And the day before, I was actually qualified. But in the last 16 hours, I got knocked out of the competition.
Okay. Another question. What was it like the first time you went basically from, someone who's played the game to the very first time behind the wheel? How did that feel, and how did it compare to the game?
So there's two different answers I'm going to give here. The first one was my first time actually behind the wheel, which was in a go-kart, and they only go 50 miles an hour, so it's not really that scary. And I was driving it, and my first impressions were like, oh, wow, this is exactly like the game. This is really realistic. I recognize all of these feelings. And then I got out of the go-kart 7 minutes later, and then I find out that I was the fastest person that was in the go-kart the entire day. And they run these all day long. So I was the fastest person on my first time driving the go-kart. But then when I transitioned into driving a car for the first time, I was really scared because, it's way faster. there's a lot more pressure. It's a lot more dangerous. So that fear was really bothering me, and it made me really, really slow. And it took me like a couple of hours to get used to it. But after the fear faded away, I was able to improve my speed. And I think it is very similar to the game. The biggest difference is the fear. That's what separates the good real drivers and the good sim drivers.
Cool. And we have a bunch of questions from our audience, so hope you stick around.
Yeah, I'll stick around.
Yeah, cool. But I have another question. Okay, how accurate were some of the other things? When we had an email exchange, you told me that, you know, a lot of the things and look, I'll forgive the movie for this. So I know that like you knew Jan from going to the academy, but a lot of I'm sure they played with time. I'm sure they played with like the sequence of events. What were some of the things that stood out to you? However, there's a big thing, and this could be considered a spoiler for people if you haven't seen the movie, but there is a crash that Jan is involved in where a spectator is killed. Now, they never mention in the movie the name of the spectator. I didn't notice that there was any sort of tribute. I actually think that may be the more respectful way. I don't know if you want your life immortalized as like this tragic event in a video game, but we actually have the real footage of that crash.
No, we don't. I didn't. Well, maybe you do, but the one that I sent you was of a different car.
It's a different car, but this is a similar accident.
Yeah. So
I can share screen and show this. I'm gonna present this here. So, but can you tell us what were some of the things in the movie that were not quite accurate that bothered you? And I'm gonna show this footage that I have right here.
Oh, 2012. This is the one from the Le Mans race.
Yeah.
So the thing that bothered me the most is that the movie acts like Jan was the first GT Academy winner, but that's not true. Lucas Ordonez won the competition in 2008. He was a Spanish driver, and he had a very successful career. He didn't retire until 2019. And Jordan Tresson won the second one in 2010, and he did not do as well, but he still became a professional driver. And then for the third year, there were like 2 or 3 drivers, which includes Jan. So by the time that Jan won the competition, he was like the 3rd or 4th or 5th driver to win. And the movie pretends like he is the first one. And that really bothered me because it was like erasing the accomplishments of the drivers that came before him.
But I do like the idea that it's like the big premise of the movie is, can sim drivers go from sim to real world? And the answer is yes. That is the answer resoundingly. And it's like, you know, I feel like the movie, you know, like it's a movie. It's not a documentary. But but this does make me want to see a documentary about the real events, like those things on ESPN. What are they called? 30 by 30?
30 for 30. Yeah.
30 for 30. Yeah. I like those documentary series. Here's another thing of the port. This is another video that you sent me of a Porsche flip.
If you want to see more of this story, there's actually a reality TV show of every season that's on YouTube. Every year they had like about 6 episodes that are like 30 minutes long, detailing like the advancements and like the drivers being eliminated and everything. So if you really want to see the real story, you can just look up the GT Academy show on YouTube. They have several seasons with several winners. Jan is one of the first ones that is on the thing, but if that's a really good source if you're interested in this.
Cool. All right, let's check this out. You sent me this. This is from the Petit Le Mans.
Yes. So this is from a GT1 car in 1998. So the way that the GT cars are sorted is that GT1 is the fastest, and then GT2 and GT1. So in the 1990s, the GT1 cars were so fast that they could flip over if they were not tuned properly. And the GT3 cars did not have this issue because they were slower. So the way that they fixed it in the really fast cars is they started introducing cutouts over the fenders. I sent you a picture of this as well. It's
Mhm.
circled where the fender cutouts are. So this was their engineering solution. But then the GT3 cars started to go faster and they started to catch up with the GT1 cars in terms of speed. And then those started flipping as well. And that's what we see in the movie. There, that crash where it happened, cars have been going like airborne there for years, just none of them flipped over. So
Wow.
if you watch like a race, every single car will come up off of the ground. But Jan was just the first one to actually crash there.
Okay, we've got so many questions for our chat from our chat. So I hope you can stick around for another 10, 15 minutes to get through these questions.
Yeah, that's good.
But there are a ton of them. Okay, so here we go here from Imperfect. How fast does it go? Does it have an automatic transmission? Does it have four-wheel drive? What kind of gas mileage does it get? All right, well, I don't know.
What? How fast does what go? The car? There's a lot of.
Maybe go with the GT cars.
I'll go with the Nissan GT3 car.
Yeah.
So it has a semi-automatic transmission. It's so it's a pedal shifter, and it has they call it straight cut gears. So they make really loud noises, and I think it sounds really cool. It's a rear-wheel drive car. So normally the GTR is four-wheel drive, like the street car, but the race car version is actually rear-wheel drive because it's lighter. And the gas mileage is probably really bad because it's a race car. But the top speed of those cars is about 165-ish.
Wow. Okay, so Sifex asks, were all the top players actually fit enough to drive? I find it hard to believe that all these gamers were able to do so.
No, that's actually like the first thing that they test. So in the real life one, they actually send the gamers to a MOD training range to train with like actual soldiers in like a boot camp for like a week. And then like the weakest half of the players are like automatically eliminated in that. So if you have 32 or 16 drivers, you just cut half of them immediately for not being fit enough to actually drive.
Let me ask you this question. What did the movie get right in terms of your experience at the Academy?
I loved the part where it was the actual Academy because I think they had the reality TV shows to refer to, and it was incredibly accurate. I also liked when he was trying to get his FIA super license that he was really struggling to win those races because a cliche that we see all the time in racing movies is that the protagonist wins every single race, and it's a little annoying. But in the Gran Turismo movie, I think he never wins a race after he wins the Academy, right? Like his best finish is like third, and then he has like a fourth place finish, and he gets like 20th, and that's a lot more accurate to real life.
Yeah, he almost wins the first race and then crashes. I think that's the way it portrayed in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's me and HD says that makes it even harder to come out on top. So kudos, sir. And Defeater Eater asks, how physically strenuous was the training? Did you have any issues coming to terms with the cars in real life?
So I did. I was doing exercise for my own training because I knew it was going to be really tough. But I didn't actually get to the MOD training range. But it looks, if you watch like the reality TV shows, it looks really, really hard, and you have to really want to win the competition to be like even able to like try.
Cool. Let's see. PlayStation or PC Master Race, says Blackstar 1069.
Well, Gran Turismo is only on PlayStation, but I think you can also become a professional driver from iRacing, which is on PC. So it just depends which one you have, I guess.
Gotcha. Solomon Thornton asks, what was your best experience that you had at the Academy?
Well, I didn't make it to the final rounds, right? I got 24th in 2015, which was 4 positions too slow. But I competed in it in 3 years. I think maybe the best high point I had was when that one moment where I was the fastest person in the United States.
Gotcha. All right, let's see. That's impressive. Fastest
Yeah.
in the United States. Razorburn asked, did the movie Days of Thunder in any way influence you to become a race driver?
I am too young for it to have influenced me because that movie is from 1990, and I didn't become interested in motorsports until around like 1997. So I was already 7 years old. Have you guys heard of the Days of Thunder 2 announcement?
No.
Uh,
Is it,
So
Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman in that one.
there was actually an announcement a couple months back where Tom Cruise said that he was interested in doing Days of Thunder 2 because of the success of Maverick. And I think that's going to be a great film.
Wow. Okay. What was your personal top speed and time? Says Yorozuya.
So in racing, we don't really check the top speeds, but the times are really, really important. But you can't really tell, like if you just take the lap time, say like it's 3 minutes long, that doesn't really give you a lot of context. What you have to do is you have to compare the fastest driver and the slowest driver. And in that 3 minute lap time, there might be like a 1 second difference.
Wow.
So in the GT Academy, I was 7/100ths of a second too slow. And I was, so 7/100ths of a second. And I think it was like 3 minutes and 20 seconds long. So just think of how small 7/100ths of a second is in terms of like 3 minutes. It's so microscopic.
Cool. Do they have an over 55 academy? Asks the Alex Zorba.
They do not. There's a lot of good training programs over the US that you can pay for to get like a driver's license. And there are a lot of drivers that are over 55. So I was trained by a gentleman that's I think he's about 60 now. So there are older guys that do still race.
And out of curiosity, says John Manilang, what's your current favorite car?
My current favorite car is the car that is on the screen right now, which is a 1995 BMW E36. It's not an M3, but my car would definitely beat an M3.
Okay. God, the questions are coming in fast and
By
furious.
the way, where are you here? What track is this?
This is Sonoma Raceway in California. And I think in this video, I think I never get past. I literally pass like everyone.
Brock Samsonite asks, how hard is it to drive at speeds over 120 miles per hour? Never had a vehicle going that fast in real life myself.
So it depends what kind of car it is. If you're driving a Jeep Wrangler at 120 miles an hour, it's probably really scary. But if you're driving a race car that is built to go that fast, you don't really notice it. It's just too comfortable.
From Aid Ellis 24 says 50 miles per hour in a go-kart is pretty quick, bro, considering it's open air with next to no protection. And then goes on to say, Aid Ellis, having transitioned to proper racing, does Ryan still enjoy playing Gran Turismo? And does he have a favorite edition of the game?
My favorite edition would be the Gran Turismo 6, because that's the one that I competed in. I sold my sim racing equipment in 2017, 2 years or after the competition had ended. But right now I've been playing Live for Speed, which is a free game that's on PC. To harpen back to that PC Master Race question, as I switched from PlayStation to PC, which is pretty funny. I have a pretty interesting story about when I strapped into a go-kart. So it was 2016, and it was the first time it wasn't like a rental kart. It was like my first time in like a professional kart. And I sat down and there was no seat belts. There was no protection. I was like, wow, this thing is going to go 75 miles an hour. This is like really scary. And then I drove around the track for like less than a minute. And then I forgot all about the seatbelt not being there.
Well, your video ran out. I don't know if you want to restart it, but we have
I'll restart it.
Okay, let's so many more questions here. So we're gonna get to all. Can you stick around for another 10 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Okay. From Rumble 8Ls, what is your favorite racing film and favorite video game film?
Video game film, I think I might say the Gran Turismo movie, because video game films haven't had a very good history of being good. But for racing film, I think Ford versus Ferrari got it really good. I do like Rush, and I do like Days of Thunder, but I think Ford versus Ferrari is my favorite. Although I do really enjoy Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, which is kind of like a racing film.
I like Tokyo Drift is my favorite Fast and Furious movie.
Me too.
I know it's because it's like sort of out of the, the family. Like I just like how different it was. Graham Robbins asks, was the Hans device you had to wear the same type that the F1, IndyCar, etc. guys wear?
I have actually never worn a Hans device, but I think they are the same for each one. I think there's two different versions. So one restricts your head movement to like 15 degrees, and the other one restricts it to like 25 degrees. But I think they are all rated for the same. They might be a little different. I'm not sure. I never had to wear one, but they seem very uncomfortable.
Chris is wondering what a Hans device is.
Yeah.
So it's a really sad history. So in motorsports, there's a thing where drivers used to die all the time. Like it used to be every couple months someone would die. So in the 1990s, there was I think he was a race car driver, but also an engineer, and his name was Hans. So he created a device that would prevent your head from moving so that your neck doesn't break in the sudden stop. Ooh. And after Dale Earnhardt, so Dale Earnhardt and Ayrton Senna, which are like the two most famous drivers in history, they died from the same thing. And the Hans device, if they had worn it, it would have prevented their deaths.
Oh my God. More questions here. Let's see. I had this from Goober, asks, did you like how the racing techniques were portrayed in Gran Turismo?
I did really like how the racing techniques were portrayed in the film, although I have heard complaints from other GT Academy finalists and winners that said that the driving line that Jan was always taking was very unrealistic. But it didn't really bother me too much, because the way that I took that is that a lot of drivers in Gran Turismo are really slow. So even if you take the slow way, you can still beat them.
And this is more of a comment. Womp Biscuit says, going that fast on a wet surface? Yeah, that just seems super dangerous.
It was a lot of fun. It's the most fun I've ever had in a car.
Crazy Cat asks, did you learn family values from the Fast and Furious movie? Goofy question.
I don't know how to answer that one, but it does have a very strong. Fast and the Furious does have a very strong family, and if you notice, Brian was the first person to mention family in those films before Vin Diesel.
Question here from Tony Banash says, Banak, hopefully I got that right. Did you keep to any superstitions before a race? Eat the same things, wear the same socks. Did you have any kind of superstitions at all?
So I do kind of like the same thing that Jan does in the movie. I just take deep breaths and try to relax myself as much as possible, because when you're in the car, it's super adrenaline, and there's a common saying that I've heard where fear shrinks your brain or something. So if you can keep calm, you stay faster. So I literally just try to stay as calm as possible before I go onto the track.
Tony has another quick question, says, which, if any, were your favorite racers growing up?
That would definitely be Jeff Gordon. So in the late 90s and the early 2000s, I was definitely a NASCAR fan. And since I was a little kid, I really liked the rainbow car. As an adult, the rainbow car is still really cool. But Jeff Gordon was my favorite driver. But then when I switched over from NASCAR to GT and endurance racing, I really looked up to the GT Academy guys, right? Because the GT Academy program started in 2008, and I competed in 2013, 14, 15. So I was really looking up to these drivers that had already won.
Cool. Another just comment here from SWD40 says, I guess that's where the term breakneck speed comes from.
I don't think that's where it comes from, but that does that would make
Makes sense.
sense.
Does make sense. And then another question here from Ju Kyun says, hello, do you play any other video games?
Yeah, I used to play Call of Duty just like everyone else what the PlayStation does, and I really enjoyed that. I haven't played as much games as I would like to recently, but yeah, video games have always been a lot of fun.
Cool.
So no to Minecraft then.
Oh yeah, I did play Minecraft, of course. That was when I was in high school. That's all anyone would talk about.
And Yorozuya says dream car before joining the academy and after. Did you have a dream car?
The BMW M3 was like my practical dream car, which is the one that I got. But then the GT Academy, I really bought into that Nissan advertising. I really wanted a 370Z or a R35 GTR, just like how they had it in the movie.
From Razorburn, a question back to movies. Did you enjoy watching Talladega Nights? Did anything in the movie? Is there anything in the movie you could relate to?
I like the part where he thinks he's on fire. I think it's hilarious. I think Talladega Nights, it's a really funny film, like looking back at it, but I think it did have a negative impact on NASCAR because NASCAR's most like highest rated season was 2005, and Talladega Nights was kind of like released in 2006, right? And I was kind of making fun of it. So I think that's was part of the downfall of NASCAR. But looking back, it was a very funny film.
Another question here. Pain in the Patoot says, did you ever game against any real life drivers?
Yes. So I was in a competition in 2015, and the RJN Nissan team, the actual real Nissan team, he competed against us, and he didn't do very well. So like an actual GT Academy winner, and then the actual mechanics from the real team, they set up like a car in the simulator, and they lost.
John Neeson says favorite track. You have a favorite track?
I like Thunderhill in the United States, like the ones I've actually driven. I really like Thunderhill, but worldwide, I haven't driven on them. But I think Spa would be my favorite track, and I really want to drive at Le Mans.
Cool. Tony Banash has another question here. How much do you have to fight with the wheel under such speeds? Looks like it's really hard to control at times.
So I'm not actually fighting the wheel in the video. I'm actually just following the direction that the wheel points in. So like when the rear loses grip and the car starts to turn, the wheel will actually turn on its own.
Wow.
I'm trying to find a video from a GT Academy driver. I think it's absolutely hilarious, but I can't find it.
Okay. Let's see here. What did you think of that NASCAR wall ride? It says Defeater Eater.
Everyone that I know thought that it was awesome and that it can't happen again.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because like it's really dangerous, but we've been doing that in video games for years.
Cool. Well, I got to say, Ryan, it's just great to get your perspective on the film. You have some comments here from people. Hey, it's me in HD says, man, Mr. Blevins' journey sounds extraordinary. Jericho Leon has a comment, says, Chris Allen, this is hands down the most interesting interview you've done thus far this year.
Wow.
I usually
Thank you for the compliment.
Yeah. Says, I usually check out when the interview portion starts, but this one is very interesting. Jericho, don't leave us. We try to make it interesting for you. We try to give you access to people so you can talk to all sorts of interesting people. And Jericho goes on to say, Ryan is a straight up, honest, grounded guy. Thankful for his very candid and informative answers here. Ryan, I got to thank you just for, just joining on the show, for reaching out to me directly.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts on Gran Turismo? Alan and I both love the film. We both recommend it. I think our audience will really enjoy it, but any final thoughts?
Yeah, I would recommend the film. I think it's important to, recognize the people that came before Jan in the real life journey. I found the video that I was looking for. It's hilarious. So in 2014,
Let's watch this.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he had a really good start. So this is what the difference between a real professional driver and a sim racer is. So the sim racer is the one driving, and the real professional drivers are all the other people.
Gotcha.
It's absolutely hilarious. The first like 30 seconds are just incredible. And you can also see another GT Academy driver in here, but I don't know who it is. It might be Jan. This is from 2014. So he might have been competing in the series. I don't know. So yeah, the person driving is a sim racer, and the other cars are actual professionals.
So the sim racer is actually just, it's almost like looking at it as the one thing I did like about the film is it puts you in the head of a gamer. The scenes were kind of like you saw Jan kind of like he was in his head, not in the actual race, and you could see kind of how he saw the racetrack. So I really like that aspect of it. But this is incredible. This is a sim racer against actual drivers, actual professional drivers.
This is what happens when you have talent instead of money.
Right. Yeah. No, but I like that the movie implied that there was the guy, I forget the name of the character, who had the gold car.
The Kappa guy. Yeah.
Kappa guy. Oh, he was such a jerk. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
There's people like that in real life. He was a little bit of a caricature, but when the GT Academy guys started winning races, the people that were winning before were not very happy about it.
Yeah.
The GT Academy actually got banned from the British GT Championship because they kept winning too much.
Wow. This is amazing. Everyone in the chat is just going nuts for this.
This video is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is insane, man.
So this is this is like what the actual movie would look like, right? This is what the movie is based on.
I mean, this is what it really is. This crazy. The one thing that really impressed me was the Le Mans when they're racing in the rain, in the dark. How do you like that? That I thought was scary. Like, I just can't. First of all, I'm just like driving a normal car in California when it rains. That's dangerous enough. Let me just say from experience, you're driving in California in the rain, be careful, because California drivers might be the worst drivers.
So driving at a racetrack has a lot of advantages. Every driver memorizes the track. So you know what you can drive around the track with your eyes closed, basically, or you don't even have to be there. You can just like drive around it in your mind, and you know every inch of every corner. And there's people looking out for you with like flags. So as long as you look for the flags, you know there's no danger. So you can just go as fast as you can because you know where all the corners are. You don't have to actually see them.
Wow, this is incredible. And where did this driver place, this sim driver?
In the race, I think he finished 8th. There's a different driver that I thought was really cool. He was in a different race. He won GT Academy, I think, in 2013. And his car broke down in the middle of the race because I think the ECU failed, like the computer got fried, but they had a spare one in the backseat of the race car. So he actually got out of his car, he opened the hood, and then he changed the part, and then he went back out on the track and he finished the race in 8th place.
Wow. Well, you should see the comments in the chat now watching this footage. Tony Banach says, I had no intention of seeing this movie until today. Now I'm going this weekend. And
you really should.
Defeater Eater says, seriously, I wasn't going to watch it either, but now I'm going to ask friends to go together. It has that, what I like about it, because I know it's dramatized and it's based on a real life story, but it has that thing that a really good sports movie does. And a really good sports movie will just like, your adrenaline is pumping. You are so rooting for the protagonist, and you see the trials and tribulations that person goes through is just nuts. But awesome. Well, hey, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. This is amazing. I appreciate that you reached out to me, and I hope you go see the movie again. One last question before we let you go. Could you spot yourself in the movie? Was there any character? Did you look and go, oh, that's kind of based on me, like maybe someone's haircut or whatever?
Well, I competed in a different year, so I don't think I was directly in the movie. But
Right.
if we get any sequels, I will definitely be looking for myself.
Right. Right. That's awesome. All right, Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk to us. This is incredible. I want to thank everyone for their great questions in the chat. We have Alan and I, we got more movies to review. So on the chat, stick around. Yeah, Ryan, thank you again. We appreciate it. We're going to clip this. We're going to clip this interview and put it on our interview channel. So
Cool.
Check it out.
I have my own channel as well.
Yes, please plug your channel.
Where I did a review of like the actual, it's just like a summary of the actual GT Academy events. But YouTube really dug that, put that video into like the ground. Like it has absolutely no views and it doesn't get any impressions. YouTube just doesn't like that video. But if you're interested in the actual story for like bird's eye view, that's a good place to go.
We'll put the link in the description. Email me that link. We'll put the link in the description of this episode and the interview for people to check out your channel and your video. Thank you, Ryan, so much for being on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. It was fun.